The links join channel can be valued. Remember, check out the Patreon, subscribe to our Odyssey, Bit Chute, Gap TV, local, with all the other Telegram. Though that is a little bit of a free speech platform, so be warned. Don't go in there without your asbestos panties on. So you try to engage in this open marketplace of ideas. You try to sell your Comicsgate project on Indiegogo, or hopefully, who's that guy? Eric July is going to start his own platform. It's like, yeah, maybe that's the better idea, is to have like a private small thing. That's kind of like the new concept is springing up, especially when you see like Shing.tv is sprung up. It's a new video hosting platform that has blown up overnight. Live streams on there with just hundreds of people in a live stream for a platform that is like people just got on, and it's a different concept. It's like, I don't know which one, like boutique, where you're not using external platforms like a YouTube type of thing, where you have your notifications set for Shing when someone's live streaming over there. You're just getting stuff that's not allowed. There's video game stuff over there too, but there's also a lot of base content over there. It's like this boutique concept of, if setting up your own crowdfunding site like Indiegogo, Kickstarter, where it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of a Comicsgate site, or it's a free speech site. It's a site for everyone who's banned off of everywhere else. Where, yeah, Mike Miller selling his Lone Star comics, which are fantastic, and it's like it's got a gang member theme. It's like here's superheroes fighting gangs. Oh, those are marginalized and oppressed communities, and we need to protect the disenfranchised and the othered. And Mike Miller's a bigot, istophobe, who wears a white sheet. Really? Have you seen Mike Miller? I don't I don't know how on board that whatever. None of that makes sense. It's like it doesn't make sense in Clone Wars. You go, so these are gang members in this Lone Star comic. They're really bad people, and they're yes. That's right. But they're committing horrific acts of malum and say, oh yeah. So you guys are just complete brainwashed Bolsheviks who will just say and do anything to destroy. Like, all you just parasites. You just destroy everything you touch. Yes, that's right. But we speak in this NPR voice, so we never get challenged. And when do we block anyone? We own the platforms. It's like, oh, okay, I get how it is. So it'd be nice if Twitter was we had guaranteed free speech on Twitter. It'd be nice if political discrimination, we had constitutional protections from political discrimination, where you couldn't get doxxed, fired for having political viewpoints on social media, and then also you had constitutional protections that you were allowed to have. You could not get kicked off of social media without due process, some due process protections in place, because clearly the concept of free expression, it's in the Bill of Rights. The founding fathers valued it so much to make the country what it is. It's such a great place that people literally die to get here. They float boats over to garbage boats to leave to come here. It's like, clearly that's an important part of the foundation is free expression, free political speech. And if you don't have that on the new town square, his new digital town square, what renders the First Amendment meaningless, and the protections that made this country what it is, that people are so desperate to come here. Well, you turn it into something else. You're turning it into the hellhole that you left, where you don't have free expression. Because without free expression, you get people who have bad ideas who also control and censor and deplatform. And if you control the new digital town square, which is Twitter and Facebook and IG, which is controlled by like a handful of companies, it's like, oh, so we the people don't run America anymore. We don't have that Bill of Rights protections that the founding fathers thought were so valuable, because these NGOs actually run the country now. Where if you're trying to sell a comic book on Twitter and it's not on there, well, you're gonna have a hard time. Or you're trying to run for office, and if Twitter doesn't allow you on Twitter, well, you're not getting elected. So it's like, oh, so they actually control elections in America. Yeah. Is anyone going to do anything about that? Any of our representatives? Obviously, the executive office is not is not going to help us, and the judicial isn't really applicable. But what about that other one, the other third branch, the legislative branch? You got like 535 people sitting over there being paid, $500,000 a year. They vote themselves salaries like every 2 years, and free healthcare and freedom from everything. It's weird that, like, gee, if you only enforce the borders, it's like and didn't give money to Ukraine and all these other countries, it's like you'd have taxpayer funded healthcare, you'd have taxpayer funded colleges, but you print money out of nothing, and then you ship it overseas, which it's like, it's not actually going overseas. Partially it is, but partially this is also going back the sticky fingers. It's passing through the Congress people's pockets again. Like, no, Nancy Pelosi is not worth $140 million without breaching her fiduciary duty of due care to we the people. And the other politicians too. I just use her as an example. But there's a ton of politicians who went into office, personal wealth of $1 million, come out of office, personal wealth, $50 million. Yeah. Doesn't anyone want to do anything about that? You know, it's to my embarrassment. The Mary Sue is had a recent article about that, asking the same question, like, "Hey, so are we going to do anything about cleaning up stuff?" And this is what I talk about with people left and right. It's like, can we just get together and without fighting on the 99% of the shit we disagree with? Can we talk about the one thing? Hey, let's work on one issue at a time. Hey, Nazis and commies, can we get together and talk about this one issue that Nancy Pelosi and anyone in office shouldn't be worth $100 million through insider trading or deals made while in office? They shouldn't personally benefit while in office other than their salary. They shouldn't be able to engage in any outside transactions to personally accrue wealth. Can we just agree on that one issue and go forward on that? No, because my Bolshevik handlers told me that we're not allowed to talk to you guys because you're like the far right. But you just heard my idea. Isn't that like one good idea that we can get together on? Oh, I guess that is one good. Yeah. I said I credited it to the Mary Sue. The Mary Sue was the one talking about it. It's probably Steiner and Leishman coming up with this idea. It's like, oh yeah, I'm in agreement with them. Let's talk about this. Let's push forward. Oh, because now the right's in agreement with it, and we can't do it. Oh, okay. So I mean, you guys really are just complete. Hey, hashtag Me Too with Alyssa Milano. It's oh yeah, but now we get like Weinstein and all these Kevin Spaceys and all these other like left wingers in Hollywood. We're gonna have to abandon Me Too. So you guys really have no principles whatsoever. Like, you don't want to do anything if it makes the left look bad as well as the right. It has to be like entirely a right wing thing. Hey, there are plenty of right wingers in office who are worth $50 million too through insider trade. It's not just Nancy Pelosi. She's one of the more egregious examples, but there's a bunch of other ones. Like, can't we just stop all that? Can't we just get together and stop all that? Hey, let's just work on one issue at a time. It's like talking to the left is just. It's pulling teeth with them. Anyway, I mean, maybe if you make it sound like the idea came from the left, they can get together. Hey, maybe we shouldn't sexualize kids. Maybe trans kids, drag kids. I think there's a big chunk of guys people on the left who are looking at it and go, yeah, that's probably not so hot in a government school, taxpayer funded government school. It's not such a good idea. Or Weingarten calling Garfinkel and telling him to get the Homeland Security and FBI on the parents who are coming to school board meetings. It's like, that's what the local police is for. If someone gets violent at a meeting, or a parent who tells the school board his daughter got struggle snuggled in a bathroom by a BLT student, and you have the police arrest him and drag him out of there, and then the story comes out like, oh yeah, his daughter was struggle snuggled. Oh. Yeah, I think we've gone off track here a little bit. I think we've gone a little bit off track here. Oh, like who's really pulling the strings and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, did I get off? Not really. It's all kind of related. Like, if you don't have shouldn't you have be free from political discrimination by companies if you have a viewpoint on social media? And shouldn't you have protected free speech on social media? Shouldn't digital, the new town square, the new digital town square, this new open marketplace of ideas, it's really Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, all these other social media companies. If you don't have free expression there, then the First Amendment is meaningless. And the founding fathers clearly thought that there was one of the planks of the foundation of the country was the concept of free expression. Without, like, they didn't write that just so, but yeah, 200 years later, Twitter's going to come along and they're going to take away free expression. Well, it's a private platform. Yeah, but we should still have free expression on the private platforms. The individual liberty is more valuable to me than $1 billion company who's secretly controlling the country by controlling the platforms. Like, we kind of detrimental reliance concept. We relied on this platform to our detriment, including government officials. It's like, now it has so many federal contacts that the constitutional protection should obviously apply. So some guy selling an Indiegogo comic, and it's politics downstream from culture. Obviously, he's talking about a little bit of 20 years ago this wouldn't be a hot topic, but it's a hot topic now because we're in the full throes of this Bolshevik revolution. Where he's trying to sell a comic and politics being downstream from culture. He's talking about what's going on there and like changing the fabric of a country so radically, and since the Hart-Celler Act in 1965. so radically. It's like talking about it in a comic book, and like the ideas percolate out from the comic book, but you can't sell a comic book on Twitter. You can't talk about the stuff on Twitter. It's just like, oh, so Twitter actually runs the country. They control politics because they control the culture. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Gee, it'd sure be nice if someone did something about that. And somebody, I mean, if you sold comic books like this, where you're able to tell a story about what's going on about across the border with coyotes, struggle snuggling girls there, and all the kind of horrific stuff they're doing, I can't help but think that it would trickle throughout people's consciousness, and it might affect the way they vote. It's like, yeah, 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 we're just not gonna allow those ideas. We're gonna censor them and deplatform you. Oh, so we're completely controlled by Twitter and these gatekeepers, these social media gatekeepers. And like Kanye went and bought Parler. It's like, no, no, no. Buying a site, you should be working on lobbying the politicians to say, oh, we should just have free speech on the sites that are already in existence, because 99% of the government is already using Twitter. If the government is using Twitter, you don't have proper redress of grievance, and you can't exercise your constitutional rights if you're not on the same sites the government is on. If they can kick you out without legally protected due process. Yes, you have to have constitutionally protected rights for social media platforms. It's so critically important. It's been out for like 30 years. Really been out like heavy for 15 years for social media. But it's past time to do something about that, to guarantee free speech on social media. To If you're on social media and you make some post, it's like, should you be able to be fired if I'm not talking about a threat of violence, but like some political point. Should you be able to be fired for political discrimination? Should the banks be able to debank you because of your viewpoints? That doesn't seem very fair to me. It's weird that nobody does anything about any of this kind of stuff. It just kind of lets it go. And oh, you know what they are doing? They're congressmen. They're voting themselves salaries, and they're making money on insider trading. Oh, oh, yeah. I mean, this is all tied together. It's Indiegogo, social media, trying to participate in this constitutional republic. It's a democracy, really, because it doesn't say that in the Constitution. It says constitutional republic, representative republic. Gentlemen, you have a republic if you can keep it. Yeah, it doesn't actually say democracy. It's a republic, a representative constitutional republic, something like that. Republic. Oh yeah, but we can't say that word because it sounds like Republican. Oh, I don't, I don't see, um, I don't see a gentle solution to this. Anyway, check out Private America on Indiegogo, and I will see you guys all next episode.